Hello and welcome to this Dawn Busters Challenge, Taste Challenge this morning. It's starting to be dawn out there, glimmer of light for this taste challenge. We have for this blended Scotch whiskey taste challenge from not 1836, but that's when the company was founded. J.W. Dant's. J.W. Dant's blended Scotch whiskey. This is handled by Heaven Hill in the United States. You can see it's a liter bottle. It's got that Heaven Hill straight down, just like the mellow corn. They have a distinctive bottle. I can always tell when it's Heaven Hill. J.W. Dant's blended Scotch whiskey, 100% Scotch whiskeys, product of Scotland, distilled and blended in Scotland. I think we're getting the picture there. Imported and bottled by J.W. Dant Distillers Company, Bardstown, Kentucky. You say, oh, they're still in business, right? No, it's Heaven Hill. But these companies are allowed to use alias names and assume names. Good morning, Jay, says Robert Collins. Clap, 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 clap on, clap off. Good morning to you, Robert. So there's a shield, a knight's helmet, some frillies on there like feathers and stuff, and 3 fleur-de-lis, a lion, another lion, another lion, another lion. So it's 4 lions on here and 2 flags. So I can't tell what they are. There's a ribbed, it's like little ribs all the way down the label. The back is flat. Then there's a huge, like an essay on Scotch. This Scotch whiskey has the longest essay on the label. So much glare, you can't read it, but it starts off, the past. The past. Although the origin of distilling is veiled in obscurity, it is generally believed, and it goes on and on, aged for 36 long months, which is the minimum allowed. You know, you cannot go less than that and be sold as Scotch. Law of Scotland and the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland. All right. Yes, the Kingdom of Scotland also became, the King of Scotland became the King of England as well in 1603. So he was the King of Scotland, James VI. But he inherited the throne of England, and he became James I of England. No, it doesn't say anything on the label about by royal appointment or any of those kind of things. All right, so J.W. Dant, a very early American bourbon producer in 1830s. This company got big, and then they started contracting to have gin and Scotch and all of this other stuff produced. And then at some point in history, don't know when, can't find out everything, it was bought by Heaven Hill. Right. I guess they're trying to make it look like J and B, J and W, JW. Now, here we have a more modern Scotch. The imported Sir Malcom Royal Club, introduced in 1967. I can't remember who the company was that introduced it. I could find out, but it's owned by Sazerac today. And I wish Sazerac would update their website, because there's no, they used to have like each category blended whiskey, Scotch, Irish, and Welsh products, like Canadian. And you click it and it would give you a list of every brand they had or that they were choosing to show. And then they'd show you pictures of the bottles. But they had a big buyout in December, and then another buyout in December 2018. And I guess they're updating it to show all the new products. They had lists, but no photos. I'm gonna have to call them and say, what's going on with your website? Don't do like past brewing company and have an update pending for like 2 years where you can't find out any information. To me, that hurts the company. You say, well, most drinkers don't read websites like that. They probably don't, but I do, and I want to see it. Now you can tell this has that characteristic Sazerac bottle with that lip at the bottom. And when you go to a store and I don't care what the brand name is, that's a tip off. If you see this bottle design, then you can say, "Oh, that's Sazerac." Then you start reading and you'll see some telltale names. Well, like this says the Sir Malcom. What does it say? Yeah, the Sir Malcom Company. You say, never heard of that company. Yeah, neither has anybody else. It's Sazerac. Frankfort, Kentucky. That means Buffalo Trace. Okay. We love to hear from our customers. Well, you're going to be hearing from me, I think. I might forget to call them, but I want to call them and say, what's up with the website? All right. Now, here's the value thing here. Here. I keep saying here. Hear ye. Here's the value thing. The JW Dant I purchased that at Dorgnac's grocery store supermarket, Dorgnac's supermarket on Veterans Boulevard in Metairie, Louisiana. This liter bottle was $8.99 plus tax. Now my friend David bought a bottle of the JW Dant bottled and bond bourbon, and he was raving about it. I got to buy my own. We did a video review of it. Okay, so we were very pleased. He especially likes the bonded bourbons because of the protections, the quality protections that you will not get with other things. Like you might get something to say bottled in Kentucky by Simsboro Craft Bourbon, and then you find out, hey, wait a minute. You find out it was distilled in Indiana. All right. So here goes the dance. And then the Sir Malcom was $9.99, so it was $1 more, but it was 25% less liquid. You see what I mean? It was it's a $7.50. So the only way Sir Malcom can win this is if it's way better in flavor. I don't even think it's going to be as good. I think Sir Malcom is going to be inferior. Now, on its own, when I first did the solo review, it tasted fine, and I was saying, oh, this is one of the better blended Scotch whiskeys I had, so on and so on. But that's okay. Once you start putting them into competition, then things will oftentimes break down. Now, if you say, no, I've been drinking Sir Malcom since 1981, and I like it. And I might say to you, well, what other blended Scotch whiskeys do you drink? None. I got that. I liked it, and I stay with it. Well, that's fine. So you're not comparing it and contrasting it with anything. And if you're happy with it, then keep buying it. There's no problem there. Nothing. No problem. It's when you do the taste challenges that'll start to break down. So I think by default, Sir Malcom has lost already because you get less whiskey for $1 more. Can I tell them apart? I think I will be able to, but it won't be particularly easy. Tomorrow I'll do Scoresby. I'm planning to do Scoresby against Sir Malcom. That'll be a wash. I don't think Scoresby. It used to be Diageo. I don't know where Diageo bought it from. I could look at the ownership list, but it was started in 1960. Now Scoresby is a Sazerac brand because they bought it from Diageo last year. That's basically what Sazerac does. They go around buying up brands from other people and facilities, even distilleries, stuff like that. So is it working for them? What seems to be, but I don't know their internal operations. It's a private company, has no board of directors. It's private, you know what I mean? It's privately owned. There's no shareholders, so their records are private. I don't know how well they're doing. I would assume they're doing all right. They're about to open the Sazerac Experience in New Orleans this year, 2019. That might be another reason the website is not updated and is not functional, because they might be planning to add that to it, the Sazerac experience. I think they're going to revamp the whole thing probably, because it's very low tech. Their website they had was like, it looked like something from like 2003. It was kind of, well, it was old timey looking. You say old timey, 2003. Well, for the internet, kind of just low tech graphics and everything. I mean, it was fine. Information was fine. I know Heaven Hill last year updated their website, make it more modern. Okay. Had to pour a little more of the Dant. Now the Dant is darker and the Sir Malcom is lighter and has a little bit more of that greenish thing going. This has more of a gold. Now you get Cutty Sark or what's that other one I bought? The J and B. They're much lighter. And the what's that one called? Clan McGregor. They're much lighter, pale, straw, and greenish tint. These might have coloring added to make them more gold. I don't know. So one is given an age statement 3 years. The other one gives no age statement. So is it 3 years, 4 years, 5 years? I really don't know. I know the Scottish laws, I was reading those, they just say it has to be a minimum of 3 years. I didn't see anything about an age statement or anything like that. The United States government's different. Whiskey could be aged 3 minutes. That doesn't matter. Like the new Pabst Blue Ribbon whiskey, it said age 5 seconds. That doesn't really matter. It's just that if it's age less than 48 months, 4 years, they have to give an age statement. If it's over 4 years, they don't have to give an age statement. Now, if it's 12 years, 14 years, they're going to try to brag about it. This is an 18-year age, something like that. Jim Beam chooses to give the age statement 4 years. And like the actress used to say, 4 long years, twice as long as required. This is true. That was a true statement. 2 years is the minimum for straight Kentucky bourbon whiskey. Whatever bourbon whiskey, doesn't have to be from Kentucky. 2 years. Straight bourbon. Now it could be just regular bourbon. There's no age requirement. Okay. Canadian whiskey has to be age 3 years and wooden. And small wood, they call it. Small wood, I guess. Typical bourbon whiskey barrels. This one's George. Still mad at me because I intervened about his huge German Shepherd being loose on the street. Did you call the cops on me? So why do you think I called the cops on you? Because they told me you did. Well, they wouldn't tell someone who specifically called anyway. They might say a neighbor called concerned about this problem. Strange that you would be angry about really an advisory. The sheriff's department gave you simply an advisory. So we're advising you, there's a leash law in this parish, an ordinance, and the dog is not like a little toy poodle, it's a huge German Shepherd. It has to be in a pen or on a leash. His answer to me was walk somewhere else. You need to walk somewhere else. Of course, knowing me, my answer was more like, I'll still walk where I want, but with something. If you follow, which I have a right to bear according to the Constitution, and a natural right. I don't need a legal document telling me that I have a right to do what I am born to do. You see, you have a natural right to protect yourself. Did you know that? You do. Now this one smells, but you don't have a natural right to own a dangerous animal and not have it pinned up. And if other people get bit, you say, well, it ain't my fault. Yeah, well, yeah, it is actually. Okay, so happens after death, Ronald. Any thoughts on that? After death, you'll be judged. We'll all be judged. The particular judgment. You'll be judged in particular. So we have to answer for everything we do. Did you, when being a teacher, hurt your soul or mind in any bad way, Ronald the beer mastermind? I didn't hurt my mind or soul being a teacher in particular. My mind and soul might have been damaged by certain circumstances and certain environment in public education that's been going on for 65 years. You know, you trace the problem back 65 years, maybe that could hurt a lot of people's soul, and a lot of teachers retire or quit without even reaching retirement age to get out of that disastrous situation. We don't want to go, well, let's not go into the problems in public education traced back 65 years. Let's just do the whiskey. Zach Robinson says, good morning. Good morning to you, Zach. Okay. Now this one here has a little finer note, finer nose. When I mean fine, like there's some fine, it's thin, you know what I mean? Like more fine-tuned, and there's some peat. I don't think you would ever believe that either one of these is smoky. They're not really. There might be 1% aroma of smoke. 99% it isn't. The peat is there, but it's so subdued. There's a little sea air here because most of Scotland is next to the sea. There's no point in that area that's what you would call far from the sea. It's a sea, it's an island, it's a land of the ocean. A seafaring land. Grain, alcohol, certainly. There's a lot of grain, almost assuredly corn, column stilled maize, as they would say over there. But we say corn, and some doughy single malt. They're using single malt whiskey in J.W. Dant Scotch, about 20% single malt, and it'd be about 80% column still whiskeys. Now, how many do they use? I don't know. I know J&B uses, they say exactly 42 different whiskeys in their blend. That's a lot, right? 42 different whiskeys in their blend. And the Cuddy Sark is like something like 30. I don't remember. Can't remember all these things. And then I know that Crown Royal, the blended Canadian whiskey, they said they use exactly 50 different whiskeys in their blend. I'm talking about the standard Crown Royal from 1939 that was introduced into the United States in 1964, but they, you can see they just use 50 different whiskeys. These is probably a large number. I think I forgot to schedule I think I forgot to schedule 100 Pipers against the Sir Malcom. I got to go check on that. I always forget, like I have all these whiskeys everywhere and I just overlook something. It's so many. 100 Pipers, yeah. That's handled by Heaven Hill as well in the United States, but it's not a Heaven Hill brand. It's a brand from a company called Pernod Ricard. They bought it from Seagram's. And then there's the 100 Pipers 12-year age. Well, I've never seen that. This one's okay. You get some barley whiskey in it, you know, the single malt, but has a little harsher grain note. It might be this might be the Sir Malcom, but these are pretty comparable in aroma, honestly. They're not that differentiated, which means I'm gonna pay $1 less and get 25% more. Thank you very much. I'd rather have 1,000 milliliters of cheap blended Scotch whiskey for $8.99 than 750 milliliters of cheap blended Scotch whiskey for $9.99. You get the point. Okay. Yorn says you got more out of the alcohol than the alcohol got out of you, right, Ronald? Typically, yes, typically. Now, when I drank the Earthquake High Gravity 12% High Gravity Lager, it got more out of me. It all came up out of me. It made me throw up, vomit. It was monstrously bad. See, the camo now, when I did camo, those 3 different ones, I threw them out. I was like, I can see where this is going. I'm not drinking this. And they're even more deadly because they're more high ABV. I believe they were like 14% or 12. And then that Four Loko, I did drink all that and it didn't come up. It just made my body hurt for 24 hours. And I know I watched the Super Bowl, the one in February 2018, but I can't remember. I can't all the way remember it. But I was like, no, I don't need this. You say, that's the consumer market. They have a lot of 14% beers in a 24-ounce can. That's part of the beer culture. That's part of the beer. I know it's part of the beer culture, and I realize it's part of the consumer market. I don't want to be part of that market. You know what I'm saying? I don't want it. I don't need it. I don't care for it. I saw that Jose did a review. The brew dude did a review of Four Loko Gold. He's had the same reaction I did, that it was horrendous. It's not technically terrible, but it is terrible. This flavor. Now you might say, well, there must be a lot of alcoholics in Louisiana because I see Four Loko in all the coolers. Yes. But let's not presume that it's a bunch of alcoholics. Louisiana is a drinking state with a football problem. I understand that. But I think a lot of it could be that they're buying a 24-ounce can and they're sharing it, having about 3 ounces each. It's a party size. Yeah, that's what it is. Four Loko, they're buying it and they're sharing it. Ho, 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 ho. No, 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 no. There's even a fruity quality here. I noticed that with the other one. Other of these Scotch whiskeys, almost like an apple, like a green apple. Oh, that's not too far off the mark because if you read the Clan McGregor website, they have a nice website. All the rest have nothing. You know, they can't even get a website listing. But at least Clan McGregor will say it's like a baked apple. Like you took an apple and you bake it in the oven with the cinnamon or whatever. This has some of that. Not too much. But there's the apple there. Well, I already know which is which after taking that taste. That's the Dant. It's got much more smoky, peaty notes in the flavor. It's a Scotch whiskey that actually tastes like Scotch. It doesn't just taste like a bunch of grain alcohol like that thing over there. Although that did have a little bit of the baked apple or the green apple. Okay. This one has a real legitimate flavor. I mean, you could give somebody this in a blind taste test and they might think it's an actual legitimate Scotch. You know what I mean? Like something you would actually serve people on purpose and not be embarrassed of it. That has the flavor. Much like Clan McGregor, which has an even better flavor. But you see, you say, oh, everything cheap is bad. Everything cheap is not bad. I mean, generally, yes, but not all the time. And this is one of those hidden jewels, just like the JW Dant bottled and bond. And I don't know about the other ones. There's quite a few JW Dant brands. But this is mighty fine. It's a clear winner. It was already a winner because of the price point and the size. And it's devastatingly victorious over the Sir Malcom. Is Sir Malcom horrible? No. You could possibly, if you never did it in a taste challenge. Now, once you put it in a taste challenge, you can't stick with the score. But on its own, you might give it a decent score, like it's marginally good or something like that. And once you throw it into the challenges, forget it. It's dead in the water. It's like watching a basketball team. You say, look how good my team is. And I'm saying, well, I'm just watching them practice. They seem fine. And then you say, look, they beat this team the next week. They beat that team. They beat them 107 to to 80. And I say, well, I mean, the team you're bragging on is a Division I, NCAA Division I team. They beat a NAIA team from Mississippi, and they're not even that good. That team was not even that good in the NAIA. Now, what's going to happen when they start playing other Division I teams? And you might be defensive and say, well, why you got to judge my team? I'm not judging your team. You tell me how good they were. And they beat an NAI team in a kind of a tune-up game, kind of a game to get the season started. I wouldn't be too confident about that. And it's like Sir Malcom. They were fine when they were doing a scrimmage on their own, but when I threw them in competition, things collapsed. J.W. Dant was good on his own, and it's still good. Hello, Ron, says Maxwell. Hello to you in the Russian Federation, Maxwell. There's smoke there, boy. And there's a lot more single malt. Oh, I'm starting to think the J.W. Dant is not an 80-20 blend. It's probably more like a 70-30. You know what I'm saying? Like 70% column still grain whiskey. And it's probably a good 30% single malt. I'm serious. Now, how do they sell it for $8.99 a liter? I don't know. I don't know how these things work. But that's Sir Malcom. But that's got to be the minimum requirements. You know what I mean? Boy, I hope I'm right, because then I have to eat all my words. Well, I'll drink them. I'll drink my... Okay, so I'm going to say this is the Sir Malcom. It is, clearly. Oh, I was pretty confident. I mean, I've gotten gun shy over the last few weeks because I've gotten some things wrong, and it really was embarrassing. But that's the risk of going live, you see. That's the risk of going live. Now, and doing a blind taste test. Now, if you're looking at the labels, like I see a lot of these people do internet taste challenges, so-called. But they're really not a taste challenge. They're just a compare contrast video, because they'll say, well, here I'm looking at this Guinness Foreign Extra Stout, and here over here I'm looking at this other high alcohol stout, and they'll taste them. And they'll say, well, I like this one better, or whatever. Well, you're looking at it. So that's going to bring in a lot of bias, and you say, how? They don't want to be biased. There's a lot of bias you don't even realize on your own. You see, you could be biased and not even realize it. See, I could be biased and not realize it. You said, oh, no, not Sigmund Freud stuff. You're talking about what? Subconscious mind, preconscious thoughts. Yeah, you see, so I'm not a Sigmund Freud fan, but he was right about some things, I believe. You say, but he didn't even do any studies. He just thought of that stuff. He just made it up. It's true. He just made it up. But maybe he was thinking along proper lines about, you know, that you have a subconscious mind and all of that. Okay. A lot of his stuff was junk, you know. I mean, I don't want to get into all that, but that, I think that embedded bias is true a little bit. Now, of course, he would say something ridiculous like, oh, you got it wrong because you have repressed sexual tendencies, and your mother was too harsh when you were potty trained. That's when you can say, okay, crackpot, you know, go shop your stuff. Go shop your stuff somewhere else. But what's the weather outside? Oh, it's about 68 degrees, warming rapidly. I'm going to take all this off, just go walking in about 10 minutes or less. So it's cloudy, though, overcast. We got some cold weather coming in. You would say it's not cold. You're in Russia. You would say that's not cold. Well, to us, it's cold in April, you see. Usually it's very warm in April. All right. So J.W. Dant, as I predicted, is the clear-cut winner. You win, J.W. Dant. Now, I have to go and check my records, and I almost certainly forgot to include the 100 Pipers against Sir Malcom, and so I'm going to have to shuffle the dates for these taste challenges. I got to shuffle those around because I wanted to start the Canadian whiskey run, and it's going to take weeks just for one brand. The Gibson's Fine is going to take weeks to go up against all the other Canadians I have. I'm so backlogged right now. I could try no new whiskey or rum. None. No new ones. And probably drag it out until nearly the end of the year. And not slow rolling it either. I'm talking about just doing a regular taste challenge, my normal days, and it just lasts. That's how backstocked I am. So there's really no incentive to buy more. I need to bring this down. It's going to take so long to bring it down. Well, anyway, this was a minimal challenge. It really wasn't a challenge, but it was interesting to see how poorly Sir Malcom has been performing across the brands. It's really done a horrible job. It's just a bad performer. I don't know what to say. It's not my problem. I had the Inverhouse Green Plaid. I can't wait to get into that because the Whiskey Scout was talking about green plaid. And I said, That's what see what I mean? Backlog. All right. And then I got a beer taste challenge coming up today, which I can't wait to do. The Bud, the Bush versus Pabst Blue Ribbon. Oh yeah, I want to do that. I'm out of beer, new beer. Like I have no, except the KBS 2019, which I have in the fridge. I'm going to try to do that tomorrow and then bring, you can't drink that too fast anyway. So I'll sip a little bit of it and give my review. And it better be great. It better be nearly 100 because I paid a doggone $5.99 for one bottle. If I'm paying $5.99 a bottle, it better at least be world class. You say, well, there's nothing higher than world class. You're right. Well, let's say it better at least be an outstanding 90, 98, 99 out of 100. At a minimum, a 98. It better be in almost every way perfect. But for $5.99 a bottle, I expect it better be perfect. It better be 100 or above. I'm feeling kind of funny, like it's not going to live up to that. If it does not, I won't be buying KBS anymore. I'm not paying $5.99 for just upper level mediocrity. You know what I'm saying? I can just imagine how wonderful it is for free. And then I'll do a untap thing, a check-in, and then I'll save 90% of it, 80% of it for the Stout Sunday on John Anile's channel tomorrow at 10:30 Eastern Time, Stout Sunday. Then I've got to buy more beer. I've been hearing about these Mike's Hard Lemonade. They got all these new brands, new types of it, new flavors. I'm sure they're dreadful, in the greater sense of quality. They got that flavoring and that high fructose corn syrup and all that negativity. But I heard somebody saying, oh yeah, it's really good. Okay, well, we'll see about that. I might buy a can. I don't know. But I would like to pass by next week coming up. I would like to pass by Martin Wine Cellar and get some more craft beer singles. Mathern's has some. Found they're a little pricey. I'm not blaming Mathern's. It's just pricey ones like the Syracuse Musa. I mean, Syracuse Nera from Dogfish Head. It's like, I don't know, man. I don't really want to pay $4.49 for something that's got great must flavoring. I'm kind of getting past. I've been past it. I'm getting kind of sick of all this flavored stuff. That's me. Okay, I appreciate peanut butter porter and all that, but it's like, okay, I've done that. I just don't need that. I don't oppose it. If you want to drink it, that's your business. Just telling you how I feel. Okay. So there we go. We'll be off on to something else later today. Thank you for watching this video production.